Hello, and welcome to my video essay on climate change, the disproportionate effects it has on developing nations, and how more developed nations may be able to help and stop the rising of CO2 emissions. This essay will focus on the UN Climate Change Conference and Greta Thunberg's opinion from the ABC News interview with her.
When I say that we can't live sustainably within an unsustainable world, one very clear example of that is how, for example, I was just sitting right now calculating my own carbon footprint. And even if I click that I do everything right, I still exceed the planetary boundaries just by existing and just by paying taxes. So it's impossible to live sustainably today. It's completely impossible to even try to live sustainably because it's just our societies are not built like that. And for us to change that, it will take a lot.
In this clip, Thunberg talks about how she believes that it is the social norms that mean people are unable to have a carbon neutral footprint, believing that unless this is changed, there is nothing that we can do as people to stop climate change from getting worse. She believes that we should take up a more systematic approach and focus on changes made by society as a whole rather than on micro effects from individual actions. Earth.Org research says that fossil fuels are the number one cause for climate change, and that rising global temperatures caused the US and Australia to have experienced the most devastating bushfire season ever recorded, with locusts swarming across parts of Africa, the Middle East and Asia, decimating crops. This shows that developing nations are often disproportionately affected by climate change compared to what they contribute to it. Fossil fuels are most used in developed nations and nations with large industries who use coal or oil to fuel factories. Thunberg believes that a lot of climate and environmental changes are getting to the point of being irreversible and that the COPs are not doing enough.
As it is now, the COPs are not designed to really change anything. That's not why they exist. And right now, it's like they are being turned into an opportunity for big polluters to greenwash themselves.
Here, Thunberg says that the climate change conferences are an opportunity for big polluters to greenwash themselves and make themselves look better and look like they are actually doing something about pollution. An article by Milan from The Guardian supports this viewpoint as he states that some of America's most prominent companies, including Apple, Amazon, Microsoft and Disney, are backing business groups that are fighting landmark climate legislation, meaning they are supporting large companies that lobby climate change bills in attempts to stop them. This interference could mean that politicians going to these events are limited in what they can and want to achieve, and will just say statistics and alternative facts that portray them in a better light. This cherry-picking of facts and statistics shows that a lot of countries don't care about saving the environment, they only care about pleasing shareholders, saving face and looking good in the public eye. Byrne argues that greenwashing has recently become more specific to deliberate, disclosure-based firm activities. Greenwashing has become a way to suggest that companies and governments are making positive changes whilst carrying on with their normal modus operandi. In summary, environmental activists, journalists and academics agree that the time for individual action has passed and that the global systematic change is the only way forward and the only way for avoiding catastrophic temperature rises and extinction events. An example of this is that according to the World Wildlife Fund for Nature, or the WWF, current species loss could be up to 10,000 times higher than the natural extinction rate.